Indiana Jones, Bethesda. We got us a little review going on here. I've played it. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. And I'm here to tell you guys whether or not it's worth your money. What's going on, you guys? Gaming Out here coming at you another video. First off, I want to start this video with some transparency. Yes, Bethesda provided me with the code. And I'm here to tell you my opinion regardless on the outcome of the opinion. Because you guys know how I am, man. First off, let's get some transparency and my energy with this game up until now. I'm not going to lie. For a while, you guys that's been following me, you see that this game wasn't really getting me too excited. And it's not necessarily anything on going on it. First off, I do have some past with the Indiana Jones brand, but I wouldn't say it's like a Star Wars or, other game that is, that's kind of like wanting me to try it out. Was I interested? Sure. Was I intrigued? Perhaps. But I wouldn't go as far as say that I was waiting for this game to come out. The last trailer kind of got me a little bit more interested, seeing a little bit more of the gameplay in general. I felt like they were kind of doing a disservice in terms of every time I saw the game, I felt like it was different. I'm going to be honest. But that last gameplay showed way more consistency in what we was going to be playing in general going forward. But we're going to go ahead and start this review. We can start with the introduction in general with the game. Obviously, Indiana Jones, game pretty much begins with your college being broken into and you fight the assailant. He gets away and he drops something. And it's about finding out why he broke into the place. Finding out what's going on. Because that's what Indiana Jones does best. He's a treasure hunter. He loves mysteries. So he packs his bags and he heads into it. Let's get in a little bit when it comes to the story. I felt the story is one of the highlights of the game. It's one of the best foundations of Indiana Jones. Does that mean it's like the greatest story ever made? No, but I will say, and I'm not going to spoil it for you guys, the ending caught me for a loop. Obviously we're looking for something for some bad guys before they get it, but I didn't expect what it was going to be. I'm going to be honest with you. They kind of like hint and allure you to multiple different directions it could be away from what it actually is. So that was very intriguing when it comes to that. One thing I will say that the story really brings to the surface is characters. Indy, Voss, the chick, I keep forgetting her name. So Gloria, maybe? Someone put in the comments section. I'm sure you guys will correct me. All these characters did phenomenal. The voice acting was great. Motion cap was good too, man. Like, these people look solid. I have to say that the characters of Indiana Jones was a solid looking game in terms of graphics, in terms of how the characters looked, in terms of the scenarios, the scenes, the settings. Every place in this game looked beautiful. And I was playing it on the Xbox Series X. I think it's going to look even better on PC, obviously. Now, I have seen that, clarification, I don't know. I didn't play this on PC, but apparently a lot of people are upset on Twitter because of the conditions and the requirements for PC. People feel like they're a little bit too ridiculous. So people are assuming it's not optimized that well. That's just me giving you guys the information. Do what you want with that. But when it comes to the overall performance, the graphics of the game is a very, very nice looking game. Now let's get into the biggest portion of this, because I do feel that up until now, most people are going to agree on those perspectives. This game, in terms of story, feels like an Indiana Jones movie that we just never saw. There's a lot of aspects to this game that is very good, but when it comes to the gameplay, it's going to be a little bit, diversive. I think that's when we're going to start crossing streams a little bit. This is one of the most cinematic first-person games I have ever played. Doesn't mean it's the most. Doesn't mean it's even close to the most. It's just one of the most. I would say everything that you do in a first-person perspective makes me understand a little bit more why they wanted first person. They got so much immersion when it comes to doing puzzles. They got so much immersion in terms of just Indiana's hands, the way that they hold stuff, the way that you flip weapons around and stuff. Like, the immersion to this game is extremely well done, and I have to give them props for that. For the most part, there are a couple nitpicks that I want to say in terms of the immersion. Like, they'll put all this time into how you put stuff on tables. That's nothing like the rest of the game. Like, for instance, like when you put like a cog on a wall, you see Indy put it, struggle, clamp it down. The audio is really good doing it. You know, some of the puzzles you do, you can feel the strength in the knobs and stuff when you pull it back. But there'll be certain times in the game, not many, but there will be certain times in the game where you have to like carry crates. And when you put them on, surfaces or something, you don't see them like physically put it in. They put a lot of time into doing the other stuff. It's just like a little inconsistency. I don't want you guys thinking that it's a lot, because it's not really a lot. Maybe 3 or 4 times in the game. I just felt like it's weird to put so much emphasis behind the rest of the game, and those things you kind of like, let fall through the cracks. But I get it. Puzzles. I'm going to be honest with you guys. The puzzles to this game are unique. They're not too hard, not too easy. And if for those of you that do, get stuck on them, you could take your camera out, you could take a picture, and then what you're able to do is you're able for the game to tell you how to complete the puzzle. Now, keep in mind, there's like 5 different hints that you can do with the camera looking at certain these things. And I don't think it's ever going to get to the point where you feel like the game is hand feeding you, even with the camera. I did use the camera to see what it was, to see how it functioned, just to tell you guys. And even though that they were giving you hints, they didn't tell you how to solve it. They just told you pretty much the principle behind the puzzle that you're doing and what it takes to solve it. Like, just kind of little hints, but it wasn't like move A to B and move B to C. So I really appreciated that. It felt like the main story puzzles was a little bit easier than the side puzzles, and I feel like that design choice is probably intentional. They want you to be less frustrated doing the main story and be, it's open to being more frustrated doing side activities. Some of the puzzles that's not in the main story are a little bit difficult. I'm going to be real with you. And I don't even know. I don't think the camera function works on those. You just got to figure them out. I do notice that in terms of puzzles, once you do the main story puzzle and they open up a new puzzle, they kind of take that same puzzle and repeat it in later parts of the games. It's kind of like, you guys know how you play like those fighters where they'll introduce a new, mini boss. And then after you beat that mini boss with the health bar, they incorporate it into just the regular ads. That's what I kind of felt like in puzzles. Once you finish a puzzle, there's a good chance you'll see that type of puzzle in a similar fashion later on in the game. Maybe different, maybe not. It's all up to that. The biggest thing I'll actually say here is in terms of the hand-to-hand combat, the gun combat. I think we can all agree that we've always had an issue with the way that third person versus first person. Do I think this game would have been better as a first person? A third person? Yes, I do think in the end it would have grabbed more people. But I ain't gonna lie to you guys, man. The hand-to-hand combat here, I think a lot of people are gonna let go over their head. But I was enjoying it. I had some really good combos to hand-to-hand. Now, the game is clearly designed to be hand-to-hand, use weapons. It's not really designed for gun combat. It's more realistic because the guns aren't useless. It's just you don't have enough ammunition. You don't have enough in the clip to do realistically enough damage to everyone there. Because in this game, it's kind of like stealth mechanics where everyone's looking for you. Everyone's going to say, oh, he's over here. And if you shoot a weapon, obviously that's going to giant thing. Everyone's over here. Giant flare up in the air, essentially. And those situations, that's when guns are completely useless, because if you shoot one, everyone knows where you are. And now instead of just fighting maybe 2 or 3 people, you're in a gunfight with 10, 15 people. And I think that's the reason that guns essentially is going to be useless in this game, because they're not going to want you to be in those gunfights. So they're going to encourage you to fight people more 1-on-1, 2-on-1, 3-on-1. And that's fine. I do think it's funny, and it's one of the first times I've ever seen it in a game. Maybe you guys can tell me if it's different in the comment section below. But when you're using a gun, let's say it's a shotgun, and let's say you have one shot, maybe you're able to use it in some kind of combat. You could press X, and he'll flip it around, and he'll hit people with it. And I know people are like, well, what does that mean? The stealth mechanic to this game can do extreme improvements, mainly because of the AI. I will admit to that, mainly because of the AI, because you're better off using the weapons because they're more silent, and you can't go behind people and choke them out in this game unless you have a skill. There are book abilities in this game, which I will get to that here in a second in terms of the books and the progression system in general. But what will end up happening is if you don't find these books around the game that give you these abilities, you have to use melee weapons to knock people out. So what would happen is if you get behind someone and they haven't seen you, your little 2 dots will turn into 1, and you do a semi-cool, it's actually pretty cool animation of knocking them out. So that's essentially why you want to use weapons more of blunt objects than anything else. So then when you get into that, you know, let's get into the stealth. Let's get into the stealth. The stealth to this game is okay, but nothing special. It's the AI that's horrible. The AI essentially will see you, and you have to show them you like 50 times. You have to be in their sight for a year and a half. You could probably take a whole 2-week vacation. You have to be in front of them a good portion of the time. And I think that's the biggest issue with this game is machine games. If you get another Indiana Jones, be sure you do the stealth better in this game. Because in my personal opinion, they kind of low-key promoted this game as stealth. That's my personal opinion. Now, obviously, that might not be the case, but it's just like, and you should have naturally had those abilities from the start. And that's where it gets to the book thing. Now, the way they do skills in this game is you'll find these things throughout the game, their books. And essentially for currency, adventure points, you're able to spend those and you're able to unlock new abilities for Indiana Jones. I think this is the key culprit to why some people are going to be in the middle with this game. And the reason why I think that is because we should have been able to build Indy the way we want to build Indy. And machine games shouldn't have made us collect collectibles, because that's essentially what you're doing, to make Indiana stronger. They should have just went something more basic. And I get it. The books is because that's more Indiana's speed. So you could still have it in it. Just make the books be skill points and have a traditional skill tree in the game that you're able to go up and down, figure out exactly how you want. You should have had a gun skill tree, a stealth skill tree, and like a general skill tree. And you can look, do I want to be more of a shoot 'em up indie? Because if there were more ways to custom build yourself to being able to shoot people the way you want to and interact with guns the way you want to, you could have essentially used more of that to your advantage. But that's besides the fact. I do feel like next time, just go for skill tree, machine games. Just go for skill tree. Don't do anything extra. AI, man, it's like I said, AI needs to improve drastically. It's not the worst AI I've seen in the game, but it's definitely nowhere near the best. And I think that's going to be the key culprit in this game that's going to turn a lot of people off, because in my opinion, a lot of people are going to want to play this game as a stealth. And without the ability to come up on people and choke them out, I feel like you're going to need those books to be able to play the game the way stealth like you want to. Apparently, I've been told there is a ability where you can choke people out with your whip, which is great, by the way. You know, it's nice to be able to use that ability. The whip is used to, you know, disarm people. You can grab people and pull them closer. You can scare the dogs so they don't attack you. A lot of good thing, man. Essentially, when it comes to Indiana Jones, this game has a lot of good things going for it. I will say the surroundings, there's a few big open worlds that you can like really mess around in. You can really do what you want in them. There's a lot of things to do. These worlds feel alive. I can't take that away from machine games. I think this game in the end is going to be what people want it to be. If you're an Indiana Jones person and you're really passionate about this type of game, then I think you're going to like it. But I do feel like if you go into this game and you're thinking, Addict, I'm about to stealth it up. No, you ain't. What you're going to do is exactly what I did. You're going to put yourself in a situation where you got to run. And if you put yourself in a situation where you can no longer be stealth, don't restart the last checkpoint. Just play the scenario out the way it's supposed to. And I bet you where you combine the stealthing and the fighting together in one core gameplay, not try to be straight stealth-like or not try to be straight goes in there, guns blazing, you'll enjoy this game a lot more. But yeah, tell me what you guys think in the comment section below. I'm very curious your guys' opinion on this. Like I said, I think this game is worth to play. Now, in terms of sales, if you want to buy this on Steam, I would say if you're a fan of like semi-stealth games, or you're a fan of just playing, an action-adventure game, is Indiana in general, I would say it's worth your money. But in terms, I would probably say it's probably wait for a sale. Game Pass is definitely a download. This is prime Game Pass game. I think you guys are going to really enjoy it. But if you want this to be a stealth-like experience, I don't want you to go in there thinking you're going to get that. You should probably wait for a sale. It's not a bad stealth-like game. Just not nowhere near the best. It's probably on like a stealth scale from 1 to 10, like a 4. I think stealth is used to be an enhancement of your gameplay, not to be playing like a stealth game. But that's in my opinion. Definitely put in the comment section below what you guys feel. If you guys enjoyed this video, definitely hit that like button. It's always appreciated. You can sub to the channel. We make weekly content over review stuff. We talk about game news, weekly news. Definitely follow the Addict Arena. I'm probably going to be streaming this on the hardest difficulty because I beat the game, by the way. It took me about 25, 30 hours. But I appreciate everyone coming through. And until next time, this is Gaming Addict. I'm out of here. Peace. Indiana Jones, man. I'm going to be honest. It shocked me. I did not expect to like this game whatsoever, and I ended up enjoying it.